So we're back from IFA. Now that the rush is over, it's time to look at some of the highlights from IFA Berlin 2025. For those who don't know, IFA is a tech expo, basically something like CES but for Europe. And there was a lot to see as usual, but the experience was slightly overwhelming when compared to the last year, as maybe everyone really put out their best at CES already. So this year I wanted to prepare my top 5 highlights for the show, as well as noteworthy mentions across different product categories. But the key highlights here really stretched beyond a simple top 5, so here are my thoughts on IFA Berlin 2025. The star of the show this year was the Antigravity A1 Drone, which is a company from Insta360, so you could basically call this an Insta360 drone. Now, you might already know where I'm going with this. This drone utilizes Insta360 imaging technology, placing ultra-wide-angle cameras on top and bottom of the drone, so while you are flying, it is able to capture everything that is happening around from all sides, leaving no blind spots. And this is pretty crazy, because if you know how Insta360 camera works, it's that it basically gives you the option to edit the footage and choose the best angle or POV afterwards in post. So you can fly, record everything, and then easily pick the best angle for what you want to see in the final video. And this makes a great leap in the drone imaging, as you no longer have to physically track a subject. Instead, you can do it digitally. Now the whole drone weighs only 249 grams, so it's actually a really compact one, fitting into the smallest drone category. As a pilot, you get to use really cool POV VR glasses that lets you look around from any angle from the drone real time. And from outside, you have that round peak display on one eye that lets you see what the pilot sees real time, which for me seems just more like a cool design element. For flying, there is no regular joystick based remote control. Instead, you get the motion control remote, which is something you can usually see on DJI FPV drones. For Antigravity, this seemed to be their first public appearance with the new brand, but it is expected to launch at the start of next year, which will likely be the CES. Now up next, we have a really clever exercise machine from Speediance, called the Gym Monster 2. This relatively compact machine can replace nearly all of the other gym equipment you have, so it can be really great for making a compact home gym. As you may have noticed, there are no external weights or anything like that. Instead, it uses a clever digital wire system which is operated by electric motors, and these wires can be moved around and fixed in place according to the selected workout. You get a giant touchscreen for navigation, and on the menu you get tons of different workouts to choose from, with professional guidance. At the core of controlling this thing, you have a ring with a little scroll wheel on top, which is placed on the upper part of your finger. If you decide to go the casual way, then with this little scroll wheel you can adjust the required weight and activate it by pushing it. And the cool thing is that also when you can no longer do your final rep, you don't need anyone to be by your side to help you, as you can simply push the scroll again to release the weights. Now there are also a lot of different workout modes to adjust the weight dynamically according to your capabilities, and this machine can also measure how evenly your muscles perform on the left and right sides, so you can improve your workouts. I was able to try some biceps workout, which turned out pretty heavy while testing all of the available modes, and it totally exhausted me after the already long daily walks around IFA. So depending on which package you decide to go for, you can also opt for a bench to use it with bench press while flipping the screen down, or even turn it into a full-blown rowing machine. Now doing bench press on this machine was a bit different than usual, mainly because of the placement of the wires and the pulling mechanism, but I'm really looking forward for in-depth testing if we get to review one on the channel. So in terms of physical activity, the next highlight promises to enhance your capabilities, which is an exoskeleton by Hypershell. Now, I have seen this device before, but it was really interesting to finally test it out myself. And the feeling is pretty surreal, as on the test environment, I really experienced the exoskeleton amplifying my climbing power with its electric motors. Based on the motion patterns with movement prediction, it helps you to lift up your leg easier while placing a step. So in the comfort mode, it felt quite natural, with some additional pressure, and I could see myself wearing this for extended periods of time. Now you can also hold down the button to turn on the extreme mode, when really needed, which turns the lights red and gives you superhuman strength. Just kidding, but it gets really aggressive when trying to lift up your leg, predictably before even making a step. Now here I really felt being pushed by the device to walk instead of just being assisted. But after taking this off, I now really felt that I just wasn't the same without it, with my legs feeling kind of weaker. But this is really something I would like to test out on the real mountains nearby, so I really hope to get a review unit as well. Adding up to that more active lifestyle, we also witnessed a new phone reveal during the show. This is a new phone from a new brand called Rugone Xever 7. Rugone is basically a sister brand of Ulefone, so yes, this is one of those rugged phones meant for extreme outdoor use with durability in mind. And while these kind of phones might usually have weird and chunky looking designs, I really like this one, and even my girl said it was nice looking, especially in the lighter elephant grey color. But what's so special about it when compared to other rugged phones? Well, I never thought we would come to this, but it has a removable battery. A really surprising thing in 2025. So the phone actually comes bundled with two 5,500 mAh batteries in the box, as well as a charging dock to charge both the phone and the backup battery at the same time. And you will also have swappable battery covers with different designs. And probably the coolest part about this phone is that the phone will stay powered on for 3 minutes, even without a battery, just enough for you to swap the battery for another one. I'm not sure if there's a capacitor or an additional battery inside for this, but we will have a deeper look at this when the review unit of the Pro version arrives, which by the way also has a thermal camera, which showed that one guy at the event had a pretty high temperature. Next up, we got to see the first generation of digital waifu hardware from Code 27, and with having anime figure collection craze going on recently, this really caught my attention. So this product actually comes from a crowdfunding project on Kickstarter, which turned out pretty successful. You get a futuristic looking pod capsule with a screen inside, on which you can display or create your favorite animated characters. Now in core, this is an AI-powered product which gives it even more functionality and versatility. Like, imagine if the AI assistant you're using daily, like ChatGPT or Gemini, had a face and it could interact in a more natural and humane way. Well, this will all become a reality now, as this device has a camera, microphones and speakers built in to ensure more natural and lifelike communication. Now, I'm really interested and curious on how this whole ecosystem will turn out, and I will also have a dedicated video on this product coming just in a few days, so subscribe and stay tuned if you want to find out more. Now AI is really getting popular, and it seems that we are just a few steps away from seeing it built in everywhere. Like Reolink just unveiled its latest innovation called ReoNeura, along with many new outdoor camera models which as usual collected many IFA rewards. So ReoNeura is an advanced AI recognition system that helps you identify, classify and document the things that your cameras are seeing. In the live demo that we saw at Reolink's booth, this system was able to describe what is happening in the scene, creating detailed description about all the visible occurrences. What's more, it was also able to detect, describe and categorize the people that it sees. For example, their approximate age, hair color, clothes they're wearing, and so on, which in the end makes finding specific events much easier, so you don't have to cycle through hours of footage just to find a moment when something was stolen, for example. And the cool thing is that this feature can be used fully locally, without the concern for data privacy. So let's see if this feature makes its way to older cameras via an update, or maybe the release of some new AI home hubs. And further, talking about AI, Hohem just released a new compact AI-powered gimbal right before IFA, the Hohem V3 Ultra, with improved AI tracking that can now track objects from the display of the remote control, which is also removable. And we also got to see a preview of the upcoming MT3 camera gimbal, which is the next generation of the one I reviewed on the channel before. And this has also been our favorite compact camera gimbal for filming on the go. The upcoming model will also have this new AI camera tracking system with the removable wireless remote control, and it is set to support nearly double the payload of the previous model, as well as manual focus assist, where you can roll the knob on the gimbal to control the focus on the camera through a rollable motor. So I'm really looking forward for this release in just a few months. And 3D printing was on the loose this year, since we saw a giant-sized 3D printer from Elegoo, along with many giant 3D printed furniture items. And apparently the price for this thing is just around $2,500, which is pretty crazy. I initially thought that it might be using some special kind of filament or a much bigger nozzle, but no, this printer uses the same size resources as your regular tabletop 3D printer. Just obviously a bigger filament roll. For example, this butterfly chair was printed with a 1mm nozzle, so pretty cool to see big items being 3D printed like this. And following the last year's robot trend, this year we saw humanoid robots everywhere. Like, the first thing greeting you before entering the expo is a Midea humanoid robot. And Midea definitely is not the first company that comes into mind when thinking about humanoid robots. But literally, most of the big companies at IFA seem to have added one to their booth just for that extra wow factor. Though some of them had really nice colored finishes. But other than just the show robots, we saw more contenders making presence at IFA, in addition to the already familiar faces of Unitree, like Booster Robotics for example, which is already a known player in the robotics space, but instead of consumer market, it focuses more on the market for developers. And there was even a robot football match happening right in the middle of the expo, which was pretty cute and funny to watch. And as it turns out, there is a local German company called Neura, which already has manufactured a very futuristic looking 90kg human-sized robot with fully functional hands and fingers. They showcased a demo of this robot picking up and sorting clothes, which was quite impressive. And I would really like to experience more of them in the future, because Germans challenging the Chinese robot market? Well, this can be pretty tough. In the computer space, we saw a lot of companies present from the last year, showing off their peripherals and keyboards, some of which we already have products from reviewed on the channel, like the unique keyboards from Akko. And there were also some magnetic Hall effect keyboards that caught my attention, with a surprising price tag of just around $30. As usual, there were also some cool cooling solutions and PC case designs, of which I actually bought one myself right from the expo, so a little setup upgrade coming soon. We also saw Geekom debut the A9 Mega on Kickstarter, which is a new and really powerful mini PC, taking some design cues from the Apple's Mac Mini. And they even showcased their first laptop series with 14 and 16-inch entries. But you will hear more about the new Geekom releases from IFA in a separate video. But to back up my feeling of being underwhelmed by IFA this year, the presence of a lot of bigger companies in the computer and smartphone space was missing. Like, there was no MSI, Google, or Honor, making the portable device sector feel a little bit boring. But we did, however, see a few interesting phones out there, like the TCL Nextpaper 60 Ultra, which features a hybrid e-ink display technology, as with one touch you can switch between 4 different screen modes, going from normal color to color e-ink and all the way to full e-reader-like experience, as well as BlackBerry Reincarnate from Unihertz, with a built-in keyboard and even a secondary display on the back, which was pretty interesting to see, but the phone itself was a pretty thick one. Oh, and I almost forgot. Just the day before IFA, we also attended a Samsung press conference, where they released the Galaxy S25 FE and the Galaxy Tab S11 series, talking about AI integration with SmartThings and home appliances, as well as the release of the first ever TV featuring the groundbreaking mini RGB technology, with much smaller RGB backlight modules that really make the colors pop, providing a really bright picture despite it not being an OLED. And what goes towards home appliances, I was most impressed by the booth of Dreamy, as when entering it felt like coming into a totally different world of technology. It was all black, futuristic and full of innovations. There were scary looking lawnmowers, swimming pool cleaning robots, as well as vacuum cleaner robots, where I finally got to see the ones that can go over bigger obstacles, and even those who have a full robotic hand that can pick up objects in the way. And there was even a robot vacuum cleaner carrier that can bring it upstairs in a multi-story household. And by now, it seems that Dreamy has a product in nearly every consumer electronics category. Like, they even make TVs and audio equipment now. Other smaller highlights include an AIO concept device from Morphy Richards, the S1 Ultra, which works as a ductless air conditioner, heater, simple air fan, air humidifier, as well as dehumidifier, making it the perfect device to keep around all year long. And talking about air, IFA was pretty hot at times, so big thanks to Jisoo Live for providing us with a portable fan. This definitely saved us during the most intense content creation sessions. And they actually have pretty crazy choice of fans, with some so powerful that it might even blow away your hairline. So that was my take on IFA 2025 with all the brightest highlights I could account for. The expo was surely too big to cover everything, with at least 10 kilometers of walking daily. But despite that, the previous year had more of a wow factor, with some of the halls being somewhat emptier now. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and as I mentioned, there will be some more dedicated videos coming soon about the innovations from IFA. So hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, as I have a lot to unfold with many videos coming your way. Stay armored with tech and see you in the next video.